we start today's BFG podcast with a special statement.
Yeah, I'd like to make a short comment about a recent investigative report that revealed sexual and emotional abuse coming out of the National Women's Soccer League in America, perpetuated by coaches, covered up by team management, owners, multiple league commissioners. And, I wanted to say, if this can happen in the US, it can actually happen anywhere in the world. And even a New Zealander is caught up in the middle of one of these incidents. And our statement on behalf of the Flight of the Knicks supporters group and now the BFG podcast group is very simple. If the players aren't safe, then nothing matters. And we always will support the players in this podcast. So we'll just take a breath on that, and we'll hopefully have another podcast on this topic another time when we're more pulled together around talking about it. But we thought it would be important just to start out mentioning that. Go ahead, Blake.
So in happier news, we have lots of positive news to cover as well. So the Phoenix have made a couple of signs over the past few days that we last spoke to you all. The first one is you guys had to help me. I can't remember her last name. Michaela
Robinson.
Thank you. So she scored in her league that she was in before coming to the Phoenix. She had 26 and scored 100 goals and 103 appearances for her team that she was at before in the local Wellington region. So that's an incredible strike rate for somebody who's come from a lower league. So I was really surprised that she wasn't picked up by an Australian A-League side sooner, because you don't see that from someone in her position, because she's more of a defensive player. And that's absolutely outstanding. To score over 100 goals in just over 100 appearances, to me, is unheard of. And I just wanted to get your opinions on, why you think she wasn't picked up sooner, and how silly that were they not to.
How fun! I mean, scoring 100 goals, that must be a freaking blast. Jonathan, take it away. I just had to say that. I mean, those are 100.
I think just a slight correction there, Blake. Michaela, from what I understand, Michaela started in the back. She started out her career in the defensive mode, and then a coach, I was reading this afternoon that one of her coaches or another coach spotted her and thought, actually, this girl's got some wheels. Michaela's got some striking ability. So she actually made the switch up to the midfield, and she's played a little bit in the forward and the striker role too. But at the moment, her preferred position is in the midfield, but she can play an aggressive wing back, an attacking wing back. So everything that I've read, everything that I've heard, and the people who are commenting on the Knicks page and stuff, all that, there's one word. There is only one word that they use, and the word is, as you said, Blake, goals. Goals, 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 goals. And that was one thing, that was something we were missing last year. Denise?
We need goals. We need fire up front. And listen, I love this story. She is, if I'm not mistaken, about 26 years old, which is really prime football age. And she is determined. And this is a chance for her. The Wellington Phoenix is a chance. From what I heard, we can get into the story of her background soon, but let's just say for now, this is what she wants. She wants to be in New Zealand. She went through the youth boys academy for the boys academy at Wellington Phoenix. So I love that. When you're playing with dudes, it brings something else out. You know, Allie Long in America played futsal with the guys, and it really turned her into a much better player. So she literally played with the dudes, you know, and didn't want to go abroad and play someone else. You know, this is her home. This is where she wanted to play for a variety of reasons. And I have high hopes. I think, you know, with her age, she's gonna just pick up the level of maturity and the level of experience and the drive, like the singular goal of you need to score goals.
Yeah, and you know, Michaela said she you know, she was a Fern for a while, and then she got dropped. You know, there was some politics going on at the Ferns with the coaches, but the new coaches come in. It's a bit of a clean slate, and Michaela's got an opportunity. She has got an opportunity to get herself back up playing top flight international football ahead of the World Cup next year. So I think we're going to see some real fire on the pitch. What do you reckon, Blake?
There are two things with her dedication to football that really stand out for me. Number one, the fact, going back to Denise's point, the fact that she came up in a women's academy and the men's academy, excuse me. The fact that she was able to play with them and you know, compete with them in the academy shows what an outstanding player she is, because to compete with the men, that takes a lot of power from a woman's physique. You know, and the other thing that really stood out for me with her was her thinking about others, because she had, I think it was an Australian mother, if I'm not mistaken. So she, rather than sacrifice rather than take a Kiwi spot, she decided to take that Australian spot to give someone that Kiwi spot. And I think that's really good sportsmanship to sacrifice your, you know, your own nationality spot to your second preferred nationality, I guess, to allow someone else a chance.
I
Because
think it's good strategy. I mean, it's good strategy for the Knicks to have someone who both cares about New Zealand, but also can like bring in, you know, fill one of the Australian spots. What are there? Are there like 5 spots that we have to fill? You know, it can be a tough sell, you know, and I think those are being announced last, some of them, because they are hard to fill, you know?
So my 5 cents worth of opinion, because I'm quite good at giving 5 cents worth. I think Michaela's going to be fantastic for providing a link through the side, you know, down the wings, down the flanks for the Knicks.
Yep.
And I think she's going to be, you know, I think that she's really going to help Saskia Bospa and Zoe McMeekin to up their game too. Because like last year, you know, like when we spoke with Gemma, she talked about, and we saw it, they play a high wing back because they want to play attacking. So Michaela's going to be able to teach and guide those two, hey, you know, about position on the field, but also she's going to provide that link up the flanks, you know, up front to and she can score goals too. So I think she was very, very good signing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the question is though, will they play that same style with Jim being gone and Natalie coming in?
Oh yeah. So if you listen to the press conference, you know, that's the one thing Natalie Lawrence has going on is like, I don't know if you've ever seen me coach, but I love to attack. And she's on it. And I think we've spoken about this a little bit before, that even though Natalie Lawrence isn't that big personality as a coach, you know, she seems a little bit more, you know, just less talkative, you know, not, you know, media
Yeah.
slurpy as this is the previous one. She plays attacking football, and New Zealand as a whole needs attacking football. They need it. They need to do it more. They need to do it better. The interesting thing is that Michaela, or Mickey as they call her, she's small. She's not a big player. And I always find size in football interesting. Some of the biggest players actually have problems controlling the ball. And she's a little one. One of my favorite players, Debinha, a Brazilian. She's small. She's tiny. She's probably, I don't know, 5'2". Now, I think Mickey is even smaller than that. I think she's really, really small. But
yeah, she's like a meter and a half, whatever that is in feet and inches, but it's short.
She's like a whole head smaller than people. So but that's cool. I mean, I think you can use that to your advantage. And if you know your body, and apparently she's wicked fast. So, we'll just see how this works out. But I think it's a quality signing, and I'm happy.
Just one more comment before we move on about Mickey, and that is goals inspire confidence. And last year, when the next woman got their first goal, and then we started getting a couple more goals, you could just feel the whole team just went, "Hey, we're here to play." They were there to play, but then they really. And if Mickey's getting goals, if people on our team are getting goals, our confidence goes up. We're going to be pushing for, maybe top 6.
Yeah. I mean, let's get in there.
Yeah.
And I think she has all the motivation to do it. So, sometimes you have kids and they're so naive and they're like, yeah, let's just go do it. And they just go do it. But other people have meaning. And I think this athlete has meaning. I mean, if you look at her background, there's this tragic story where, did you see this, the story? Her dad died during a soccer match, and he was playing soccer too, and she had to take some time off to figure out, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I think she's done that, and she's back being determined, and she wants, she was in the Olympics, and she wants to be a Fern, and she has all the motivation in the world, and she has she's someone that Natalie Lawrence really likes. So she is in the right place at the right time to prove who she is.
And especially with the World Cup coming up, which is a nice segue into another one. There is another signing, but we'll get back to that in a second. The football Ferns announced today that they will play 2 matches against South Korea in November in Christchurch. This is huge for the South Island. This is the first time, according to stuff.co.nz, that they will play since 1991 in the Canterbury region. Is what they said. I don't know if that's correct or not, but that's the information that they gave out.
So the cool thing is, the really, really cool thing is that the Canterbury United Pride women's football team is a machine for producing talented young women who play football. So for the Ferns to be playing a couple of games in Christchurch is bloody awesome, and it really recognises how good Canterbury is. And we've got a bunch of Knicks players who live in Christchurch, so it all works in together.
So with this being the lead into the World Cup, then you'll have to take this one, Denise, because unfortunately I'm not familiar with South Korea. What kind of quality do South Korea bring to this mini-series?
Yeah, I mean, South Korea will get better. They are up by 4 in the FIFA rankings from what I can tell. They're 18th and we're 22nd. Yeah, they're good. I mean, they have some very experienced players. They're slightly better than us. I think it's going to be a perfect matchup for them. They're I think they've made the World Cup. I'll have to
Yeah.
And so
I just thinking off the top of my head, I think from what I've seen, they like to play up from the back, and they're really big on keeping the ball at foot, and just being patient. They're from what the couple of times I've seen them play, they're very patient, and they go about their work in a very methodical way, not clinical but methodical.
Yeah, when they play the US, they get better the second game, So, I think they're a very good team. I think it's an appropriate match for New Zealand. Absolutely. I've talked last time about appropriate matches. They are an appropriate match.
So are most of their players based in the English tier, or are they based in local Korean league, Denise?
There's Jin. So Jin's a famous Chelsea player, veteran. I
Right.
believe she may have retired from Chelsea. I don't know if she's going to be roped into the World Cup. I really would have to check on that one. But their athletes are scattered about just like a lot of nations.
Before we get on to the last signing, for the Phoenix, because I believe that we have one or two, I could be mistaken, Korean players in the A-League already. Maybe this will be a good showcase from the A-League scout to have more in the league too. So,
just speaking out, and I've said this a couple of times in the last week, I would love for the Knicks to pick up a player out of Asia. Japanese, Korean, Chinese, someone out of Asia, because they just bring a different approach and a different style to the game, and I think it would help us. But then, it could happen somewhere in the A-League. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
So what we're saying to the
100%.
to Football Australia, please allow us to be on par with, the Australian clubs. We've showed you with the men's side, we can bring valued imports. So please let the women have the same opportunity.
Yeah, it is. I suppose I don't know if it's harder, but it is. Like in the men, and this is not disparaging against the women, but it kind of seems like if the women who are really good at football accelerate to the really, really good teams a lot faster. So like the really quality players they're in England, they're in Europe, they're in the US. So it may be harder for the A-League to attract like someone who's of that caliber at that higher level. Whereas the men kind of go on this funny kind of pathway, they just. But I mean, I could be speaking out of turn there, but that's just my observation.
My point is, if the Australian A-League people can do it, so can we. But anyway, that's another story for another time.
Let's get controversial. Come on.
Gosh, we do.
My whole thing about the A-League and other athletes, you got to play if you play in the A-League, you have to play somewhere else during the year. It's just not long enough to sustain a football career.
Yeah.
And you see these athletes playing in secondary leagues, or you see them coming in for part of the year and then going to another league for part of the year, at least on the women's side. The Phoenix have not done that. They have no plans on doing that, and bringing a marquee person on an off season from another league. You need another 6 games, 10 games, 20 games if you're going to do that for the women, and that's really why they're not attracting more.
But the Phoenix have attracted another player.
Okay, let's bring it on.
So I'm going to butcher this name. So a couple of one of you might need to take this one, please.
Jonathan?
Well, hang on. I just need to remind myself because I was looking.
So this is an athlete that
Claudia, is it? So the first name is Claudia. Now we need to work on the surname because I don't, because like in Italian names or Greek names, like the C has a silent H to it. So we need to check in with your family to make sure we get that bit right.
Claudia Chico?
That's what I was going to say. Is like maybe it's Chicho, or I don't know. We better check on that.
Okay.
Sorry, Claudia.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of, she's young. I mean, she's still in high school or whatever you guys call it. She's young. She's a young Matilda. So she's pure Aussie. She's a center back. I did watch some tape on her today. Yeah, I mean, she has a leg on her. She can kick out of the back. She, in her reel on YouTube, I could see her just slide tackling the crap out of some people and doing it legally. And it was kind of like, yeah, it was awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Lauren says she has heaps of potential, and she's fairly calm on the ball, from what I can tell. I don't know if she'll start. I mean, we have some pretty good defensive players, but she will. Every athlete on this team will play, and she will play.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think she'll be coming in off the bench to begin with, because Kate Taylor and Mackenzie Barry have kind of got those two centre back positions pretty well sewn up. So Claudia will be back up to begin with, and then she'll have to play away into the team, which always good to have competition.
One thing I've noticed about this team in general is we have a lot more quality than the last year, than year one. A lot more. The quality standard between season 1 and season 2 is so much higher.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. So I don't mean to correct you, Blake, but I'm not sure if it's quality. I think it's experience. So maybe those two, I kind of see those two things a little bit separately. But I mean, you could say that they're together, but we have got a lot of players with a lot more game time. And last year's team was literally, they were, thrown together literally like, hey, we need a team. Who wants to go and live in Australia for 5 months? Who wants to give up their life and not see their family? So there were those challenges. But I agree with you, Blake. I think we do have like this. I think second year we've got a number of players coming back. We've got some players, a lot of experience. I think we're going to see some good things.
The point that I'm trying to make, and I know we're going a bit longer here than we usually would, but it's certainly not going to be second year syndrome.
No,
I can tell you that.
No.
These athletes are coming now. The Winhams, the Wisniewskis, the Taylors, the Berries, they all know what's coming. Where before they were like, I don't know what's going to happen. You add a Hassett into that, and you still have Alfeld in the back. We're gonna, we have some rhythm to who we are now.
Just another thing with the players signing today with Claudia, I noticed that her mum is a big supporter and commented on one of the Phoenix posts, which was really cool. I just went back and commented, going, "Hey, look, we're really excited to have her coming across. She's going to do fantastic with Kate and Mackenzie." So, yeah, very cool. I mean, for a young woman, to her family to go, "Hey, go and live in another country for 6 months or 5 months or whatever." At 17 and go and play football professionally, like holy, it's huge.
This is a young league, and it is a young team in a young league. Even so, even now that we have a couple people who are later in their 20s, and they're still pretty young, and we'll see how that goes. I mean, I think because they have a year under their belt, the core, I think we got something.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else before we wrap up here?
I'd just like to add a little caveat or a little something here, and that's that Blake has a new camera, and that's why he's looking so much more handsome than some of the recordings we used to do. So just putting that out there. So you'll notice that the camera quality has improved for Blake immensely. Plus, it makes him look a whole lot more handsome.
And I can record at night in bed now. Spoiler alert, we're recording this at night time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, last thing before we slide out. We are thinking about doing a fan activation or a group activation at the women's first game in Wellington. More details to come.
Right
Yeah.
on. Woohoo!
Do we have any update on that, Denise?
No update, other
No.
than
Okay.
we will be there and we will have some fun.
Okay. And I'll try and make it too. But anyway, that's all we had time for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe this video. Share it with your friends. Tell them about our group. You can follow us on Slide of the Next or Slide of the Next Lockdown on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And we will see you on the next one.